The world's population is expected to increase to 9 billion people by the year 2050. This means that society will need to produce more food in the next 50 years than in the past 10,000 years combined. Fertilizer will become a crucial part of everyday farming, as it increases growth rates and increases crop yields, which will be essential with our growing population. The US is currently ranked third globally for fertilizer consumption after China and India, which means they have a huge market potential for fertilizer products. That's when we thought of partnering with Canadian farmers to turn waste into fertilizer by making dehydrated manure and then exporting it to the States to reduce the consumption of synthetic fertilizers. Manure contains nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus, all of which are nutrients that a plant cannot synthesize itself. The levels of these nutrients depend on the species of animals that the manure is coming from. Manure as a fertilizer also adds micronutrients to the soil and supports microbiological life, something that synthetic fertilizers rarely do. Nutrients in manure are usually contained in an organic form, meaning they need microbiological life to convert it to an inorganic form that is accessible to the plant. This means that it is very hard to oversaturate the plant with nutrients, unlike with synthetic fertilizers. Organic matter also strengthens and improves soil structure. Manure as fertilizer increases the health of the soil it is used on and would therefore benefit the U.S. environment. Due to the increased nutrients and soil health, plant growth and yield is enhanced, potentially providing more crops and food to the U.S. society and the nations that it exports to. The use of manure as a fertilizer has declined over the past 5 decades. The main reason for this is because manure is a heavy and expensive substance to transport, as it can contain up to 85% moisture. Instead, farmers have begun to spread their manure over surrounding fields to get rid of it, but this can pose problems if they do not own land within their farm vicinity, as it becomes too cost inefficient to move. Also, if their manure tank gets full at times of the year when manure cannot get spread, like near harvest seasons, they will not be able to empty it. Dehydrating manure will reduce moisture content and therefore reduce transport costs. Using manure as a fertilizer and exporting it to the States will eliminate the manure problem from farms and turn their waste into a valuable resource. This project could partner with a company like OnWave, a Canadian company that produces vacuum drying technologies for foods. As manure contains carbon, moisture, and other nutrients, much like food, these vacuum drying units could be used for manure or altered for better results. OnWave has figured out ways to decrease the moisture content of food to under 5% within just a few hours. The cost of processing food in this method ranges from 20 to 75 cents per pound. The new 120 kilowatt QuantaRev machine is able to process up to 500 kilograms of vegetables per hour. This method will most likely be cheaper, as it is specifically designed for large-scale dehydration. These dehydrators will be placed on transport trucks so that they are able to be moved from farm to farm and process manure on site. This will decrease the transport cost of the manure to the packaging plant. An agricultural cooperative of farmers could be used between farmers to purchase one of these mobile dehydrators to be shared between them. Other farmers could also rent the dehydrator from the co-op to decrease the moisture content of their manure before they spread it over their fields, decreasing their transport costs as well. As farmers are often desperate to get rid of their manure, they will sell their dried manure at minimal costs. The manure will be sold to the project to be packaged and exported to the United States to be sold as fertilizer. This project will take place in Iron Springs, a small hamlet within Lethbridge County located in Alberta. Although small, Iron Springs contains many farms and feedlots, making it a good location for manure collection. The packaging plant would be set up somewhere within a 4-kilometer radius from this little hamlet, keeping the transport cost of the manure to the plant low. The opening of a plant would create a couple jobs for Albertans, over 100,000 of which are currently out of work, and bring in money for the small hamlet of Iron Springs. Organic farmers would be a good consumer because they cannot use synthetic fertilizers as plant growth enhancers. Also, manure contains phosphorus, which is an especially hard nutrient to find in organic fertilizers. According to Time magazine, there are over 20,000 certified organic farms in the United States, which is a huge possible consumer base that would need a virtually endless supply of fertilizer. The breakdown of organic acreage is shown above, with a lot of it being in northern states, which is close to the production site, decreasing shipping costs. Leaders in organic plant agriculture, like Earthbound Farms Organic in California, could be initially targeted so that other farms would follow in their footsteps.